long have you been single?
19 mother effing years. 19 years.
This is Brianna Jones, a Northwestern student who is currently studying communication sciences and disorders. I sat down with her to talk about singleness and what it means to be single as a college student.
I was like, high school, this is where it's going to begin. I'm going to get a boyfriend. We're going to date all the real high school sweethearts. But that didn't happen.
And what it means to be a 19-year-old who's never been in a relationship. When it comes to figuring out, like, what you want in a partner, what have you kind of found out?
I learned a lot from my friends' experience. A lot of the men that my friends dated were, like, the cool ones or the, like, ladies' mans. But the relationships were often short-lived because you got quote-unquote bored. And I know I need someone who's stable in, like, what they want, whether that's a casual relationship or, like, a committed relationship, polyamory, or just, they need to know what they want out of the relationship before we get into a relationship.
Now we're going to kind of go through the different types of relationships and your opinions on them.
Ooh,
what's your opinion on polyamory?
For me, polyamory is where you have multiple partners, equal sharing of partners, both romantic and sexually. But as we all know, sharing equally does not actually mean equal time or quality time spent. So I think I would see the other woman or other partner as, like, a competition.
And then let's talk about hookups. What's your opinion on them? You're in college, hookups are a thing.
A very small proportion of this population is, like, looking for a lifetime partner at this moment in time. So it offers, like, them to get their, like, sexual needs met. I could see the downside of it. I think it could lead to, like, objectifying women in particular. Personally, have not participated in it. I could see myself looking at a hookup as more than a hookup, and that would probably lead through a dark road.
Do you think that hookups are a thing because people want them, or because it's like this is like the current norm for our age and people kind of accepting the norm?
A lot of people just don't have the time for it because we're chasing ambitions, chasing academics, and a lot of people want time to explore themselves and others. So rather than being tied down, it could be one night, could be a couple months of, like, different people before, like, settling down.
So then what is your ideal relationship?
Something that's consistent and stable with a hint of emotionality in it. I waver in between, like, friends with benefits, so, like, consistent hookup, I guess, but we're, like, also friends, and, like, a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Then our conversation made a subtle but not so subtle switch to masturbation and sex. Being a virgin, how do you kind of, like, cope with, like, sexual urges, and what would be, like, your advice to someone like you that, like, wants to wait for, like, the right moment but is struggling with that?
I guess I think about sex on a daily basis, like most people do, but, like, normally it only hits in waves when I'm, like, very horny. Some people masturbate or use sex toys, but personally I don't know, or watch pornography, but personally for me, I just don't have the urge. I'd rather experience something foreign rather than myself.
And what would you kind of say to someone that, like, feels like they're abnormal for not wanting to masturbate? Because masturbation is a big thing.
It is a big thing. I went through, like, I guess I wouldn't call it a phase. I went through, like, a time in my life where I thought I may be asexual just because, like, I haven't dated in high school. I didn't really have, like, an urge to masturbate or an interest in it. And so I guess it takes some self-reflection. Some people may be asexual, but I know for a fact that, like, whenever I see a hot guy walking, I'm just like, ooh, gotta hop on it. Sorry. But, like, sexuality is, like, a very complex thing, so honestly, I know it's cliche, but, like, there's probably no such thing as abnormal. Everything's on a spectrum.
Reflecting on her strengths and her flaws, Brianna hypothesizes what type of girlfriend she will be in the future. What type of girlfriend do you think you would be?
Bad one. I'm high maintenance, I'm expensive, and I'm a brat. The type of girlfriend that I could see myself being is quite nurturing. A lot of my friends describe me as mothery, but I see myself as the girlfriend who, like, you can definitely go to for, like, emotional support, and I'm a good listener. I'm quite goofy, too.
You talked about, like, what type of girlfriend you would be, and you mentioned, like, positive things, like you would be nurturing and that you're a good listener and stuff. What are some flaws you think you would bring into a relationship?
So I would describe myself as, like, a type A person. I like things done a certain way, and oftentimes it's my way. So while, yes, I am flexible most times, I really am kind of inflexible. Could be annoying for someone if they're, like, spontaneous. I like planning out things and events. I tend to complain a lot, which is a very human thing. But sometimes I notice I tend to focus on more negative things rather than the positive things. Also, another thing I think may, like, hinder a relationship is that I tend to be not self-conscious, but, like, very self-aware, and, like, I tend to, like, limit myself because I'm always scared of, like, saying something what I deem to be stupid.
To conclude this interview, I asked Brianna to give her final words on how she really feels about being single at 19 and what she would say to her past self.
Most of my friends lost their virginity at, like, 16, 17. I used to be like, oh, I'm still a virgin at 19. Oh, no. I'm at peace with it. I mean, I've been single for a while. I don't really want to, while I don't ascribe, like, my virginity as something, like, to be, like, precious, I also don't want to have my experience kind of be a disappointing one. I ascribe importance to, like, the first experience, whether it's my first kiss or my first boyfriend.
What would you kind of say to, like, your middle school self, like, being where you are now and still not being in a relationship?
You're not going to be alone forever. In short, I would tell myself you're not going to be alone forever.